Welcome to episode 123 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband, my oldest son and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There is also a group for this podcast on Ravelry, and you can participate in make-alongs and the occasional giveaway. I also have a Ko-fi page where you can support me and the podcast. As you can see, I have moved a little bit because it's either light straight into my glasses or a bit of a shadow on this side of my face. But I figured this was the least irritating. Hubby has started his summer holidays and my son is working a late shift today. So thankfully my son can sit in his room on his computer and hubby has gone to the shops to do some grocery shopping. So I have the house to myself for about an hour. So let's just make the best we can out of this. Yes, I'm drinking coffee, as usual. As you might know, I mentioned it the last time, this is my last podcast before the summer. My next podcast will be at the end of August. That's also the podcast where I will be drawing prizes for the Arctic Summer Up socks. And that's coming along and nicely. It's clear that people really love that make-along and people love knitting socks in summer. I have drawn some prizes for the Fluff to Stuff mal for the second quarter, and I've drawn the prizes for the Tea Time mal. And I'll show you the prizes and announce the winners later. The winners have been notified on Ravelry. One of the prizes was supposed to be a pattern that was donated by one of my subscribers, and we agreed that it should be a prize for this, for the Tea Time make-along. Problem is, I can't find her on Instagram. I wrote down her Instagram handle, but it doesn't lead anywhere. So if you see this, the Instagram handle I wrote down was Lakeside Knitter N. That's what I wrote down. Can't find anything. So if you see this, please contact me so I can use that prize for the pattern winner from Instagram instead of a pattern of their choice, or use that pattern later. So Instagram handle Lakeside Knitter N. That's what I wrote down. It's been quite a while since she contacted me as well, and I haven't been in contact with her since. So for all I know, that Instagram account isn't active anymore. Not wearing knitwear today, and you can probably hear the air conditioning, but I'm not switching it off. So hopefully, if you hear it, it's not annoying. I can remove some background noises when I edit this anyway. So as I said, I'm not going to turn it off this time because it's really hot. Maybe that should be it for my intro. I've been talking far too much already. I have loads of stuff to show you, so far so good when it comes to more to record, not every other week, but once a month, because I have stuff to show you. And the next time at the end of August, I'll probably have even more to show you. I actually was considering just ending this podcast at the end of the year when I was finished with the Fluff to Stuff make-along and everything was ended. Keep on going with the Spooky mal and the Grinch mal, and no more Epilogue Lady from January 1st, because I'm losing subscribers. I'm not getting any new subscribers, I'm losing subscribers. So it looks like this podcast has run its course, if you know what I mean. People are losing interest. There's lots of other really, really good podcasts out there that are more professional. So I think those are getting all the views and all the subscribers. So, okay, so this is sort of a therapy for me, but again, if you don't get a lot of comments and you lose subscribers, it's not that much fun either. I wasn't planning on complaining, but so as I said, I won't be back until the end of August. So I'm thinking, taking this as sort of a mental health break and doing some serious thinking, but I of course will be back at the end of August. I have make-alongs to draw prizes for, and if I decide to end the podcast end of December, there will be a prize bonanza at the end of December, because then I have stuff to give away. I might do a giveaway as well. But if you want me to continue, I'll do that. But as I said, I'm losing subscribers instead of gaining subscribers. And that's been a trend for a few months now. So I can't see the point, because this podcast isn't interesting enough, it seems. And then I'll stop complaining and start talking about knitting. I have 3 FOs to show you, or actually I have more if I count spinning. We'll start with the knitting. This is a fun one. It's the Emotional Support Chicken by the Knitting Tree LA. The designer is Annette Corsino, and this is huge. I've knit this entirely in my own handspun, apart from the beak and the red details. Those I've knit in Charisma from Drops. But the rest is my hand spun, and it's early hand spun, so it's worsted. So that's, I've started the second one. I'll show you that in whips. So that's the first FO. The second I'm going to show you is these, and I'm so proud of these, because this started as Cheviot fiber from Spinnvilt. I dyed the fiber, I spun the fiber, and I knit socks from it. And I discovered, I don't know if you can tell, but let's see, I have to count these. I think one of the socks, I did a mistake on one of the socks. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if you can tell that one sock is a bit longer than the other, and the reason is there's supposed to be 4 pearl rows or bumps. I have 5 here. So this sock is 2 rounds longer than the other, but I don't care. And I have to talk a bit about these, because this yarn, I started knitting with this. I got 2 skeins of this. It's a 14 wraps per inch, and this is the second skein. And the thing is, when I started knitting these socks, this yarn is very ropey. It's very hard and tough, and I didn't like the fabric, and I didn't like knitting with it. And then I thought, there's too much twist on this. That's why it's so difficult. And I thought, is it possible to re-spin the yarn in the opposite direction to get less of a twist? I double checked, and apparently it was possible. So I took the yarn over on my not niddy noddy, but never mind, you know what I mean. Swift. I put it on my Swift and I used my wheel and I spun it the opposite direction with a high speed and quite a bit of tension, so it should feed fast and to not unspin it. And it worked. So I'm going to do the same with this skein. When I decide on what I'm using it for, I'm going to re-spin it the opposite direction. So that's a way to salvage yarn with too much twist, apparently. But anyways, I have a finished pair of socks, and the pattern is the Rumple socks by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. So that's my first FO. Sorry, that's my second FO. And then the third FO is a big one. It's a sweater. It's No Frills by PetiteKnit. And the yarn is Multi Popcorn by House of Yarn, Dale House of Yarn. It's let's see, it's, as you can tell, there are loads of different fibers in here. There's 12% mohair, 24% wool, 24% acrylic, 9% nylon, and 31% polyester in this yarn. And it's a bit long in the sleeves, but I don't care because this is sweater is meant to be a cozy, a bit oversized sweater to use at home when it gets colder. So I don't care if it's too long, the sleeves are too long. Then I can just pull it down on my hands. So that's my knitting FOs, and I have a spinning FO as well. And this is fiber I've dyed in the colorway Arctic Sunset. And I tried my hand on a fractal spin, and I think I have a picture of what the fiber looked like in the pan. I'll put that in here if I can find it. And the yarn is a sock blend from Spin Milt. I can put up on the screen the fiber content. I don't have to because I have it here. This is a blend of Dorset horn, Cheviot, alpaca and nylon. So it's a fiber blend designed for socks. So I dyed it in Arctic Sunset, spun it, applied it in a fractal spin, and this is going to be socks. I'm not sure, I have 125 grams here, so I'm not sure if it's enough for a pair of socks because I haven't measured it, I haven't soaked it, and I haven't measured it. But I was thinking I could use as semi-solid red for cuffs, heels and toes. So what I'm going to do, my brain isn't working. I'm going to crochet cast on and knit a snake, and then pick up the stitches and do and divide it into two, and then pick up the stitches and do the cuffs and cut in for the heels and do the toes in a solid red. This is a fractal spin, and at the end I had to ply one of the bobbins on itself, if you know what I mean, and that's got a different sequence than the rest. So because you have a stripe sequence in a fractal, and I'm kind of particular, I want the socks to be as identical as possible. So we'll see. I'm just going to knit the snake, and I'll see what happens when I start knitting the bit where I have plied it on itself. It's so annoying that I can't remember what sort of cast on I'm thinking about. Provisional. I think that's what it's called, a provisional cast on. Because then I don't like it when you start a sock snake with a cuff and ends with a cuff. I want both cuffs to be the same. I know I'm weird. And then you can have both socks in the same direction. That's also a thing with self-striping as well. I'm weird, I know. So those are my FOs. And we'll see about my whips. I have one knitting whip. And it's another support chicken. And this is DK and smaller needles, so it's going to be smaller chicken. I've done the body and I put the beak in. So what remains is to sew it up in front and make the middle part, the piece underneath the chicken. This is leftovers. This is hand dyed by me. This is hand spun leftovers from I knit this is I knit the cowl, I think, with this yarn. But anyway, it's hand spun leftovers, and the rest is commercial charisma from Drops. But this is hand dyed and this is hand spun. So that's my second support chicken. And the rest of my whips are spinning because Tour de Fleece started on the 29th. And I'm participating in Tour de Fleece. So I'm going to do spinning mostly while Tour de Fleece is going on. And for those who don't know, I suppose everybody knows about Tour de Fleece, but I'm going to give you a sort of a quick description. It's running alongside Tour de France, and you're supposed to spin while they're on their bikes and have rest days when they have rest days. I'm not being that particular. I'm looking at the dates, and I'm probably going to go into Tour de Femmes. You can if you want to. That starts after Tour de France finishes. Then Tour de Femmes starts. And that's Tour de France for the ladies. Maybe it's pronounced femme. Tour de Femme. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not any good in French. You can choose your own challenge, and my challenge is spinning up as many different breeds as possible, as not spinning up the sheep, of course, but fiber from as many breeds as possible. And that's my challenge. So I have started. This is a project I already had started, but I'm counting it because nobody said you had to start it for Tour de Fleece. Or maybe that's a rule, but you can choose if you want to participate in a group with actual prize drawings. I'm not doing that. So I feel I'm the boss of me, so I can do what I want. And this is a project I have been working on for a while because I'm not thrilled about spinning this fiber. So I have a tendency of putting it to the side while I'm doing something else. But now I have at least filled 2 bobbins of this, so now I can ply the first 2 bobbins. So I can clear some bobbins as well. I need all the bobbins I can get. Speaking of which, Sue in Canada, her husband has a 3D printer, and he printed loads of bobbins for me. The problem is, when I use these, the string from the tension snags on the bobbins. So it almost stops, and then it suddenly goes really fast, and then it almost stops again. So I can't use these. Not even for plying. And I have plenty of them. So if any of you that spin have had the same problem with 3D printed bobbins and you fixed it, please let me know how you fixed it, because I really want to use those bobbins. That was a sort of a tangent, but this fiber is, I bought this undyed and I dyed it myself in Monet. You can't see the pink because the pink disappeared from me, but this is Teeswater. This fiber is Teeswater. And I have 500 grams of this, so hopefully I might get a sweater quantity. We'll see. So that's the first breed. And then I have a spinning whip. I actually took the bobbin off the wheel to show you. This is Corriedale. And this is what the fiber looks like, drafted. I pre-draft, because I pre-draft my fiber to about this thickness. And this is what it looks like on the bobbin. I have about 125 grams. I think that's about it, because the other fiber I'm going to show you that I dyed up, this is Cheviot. And when I buy undyed fiber from Spin Milt, you get it in 250 gram bags. And I split this into two. So this is, so I then took as much Corriedale as I had Cheviot. I just measured the length. So I'm probably not going to end up with, I'm going to end up with a leftover I have to apply on itself, probably. But this is just a light gray, and this is Cheviot, and this is going to be applied with this. And I'm applying Corriedale with Cheviot, and then I have another breed. I have two more breeds. So now I have Teeswater, Corriedale, and Cheviot. And in addition to this, I have undyed Wensleydale, Dorset Horn, South Down, and Masham in my stash. And I was considering spinning some of it undyed, because I feel like I'm experienced enough now to actually spin some undyed fiber, because I find the fiber gets much more slippery when it's not dyed. And that's, I guess that's obvious, because when you dye the fiber, it felts a tiny little bit, so it gets easier to spin. But again, I was wanting to, because I love, because I'm getting consistent. So I think the yarn is starting to get consistent enough for me to do some texture knitting. That was part of the reason why I did these socks, because now this pattern shows up properly, because the yarn is even. So I'm thinking about spinning up one of the fiber I have left and just using it as it is, undyed. We'll see what I come up with. I think I'm not going to do socks in white, but I was thinking maybe a hat with lots of pattern on it. Maybe I'll just use it for one of the sweater quantities and use it as a contrast color on a sweater. But anyways, I'm thinking I'm going to spin some of it undyed. We'll see what I figure out, what I want to do. But I could do with enough white or undyed for a contrast color for one of the sweater quantities. This is maybe too light to use white as a contrast color, but I have the Targi I got from Sue, I bought in Canada, that Sue sent me. Or she bought it. And I have 1.5 kilos or 1,500 grams of the Targi. And I've been thinking about splitting that into 2 to be 100% sure I have more than enough for a sweater. If I split it into 3, I have 500 grams, and that might not be enough for a sweater. But of course, if I have a contrast color, I can knit a color work sweater. I haven't decided yet because the target is really precious and I want to wait as long as possible before I dye it up. I don't want to ruin it. That's one thing. And another thing I've been thinking about doing in Tour de Fleece is my precious art bat that I bought at Unravel. That's merino, so it would be a different fiber or a different breed. But I haven't decided what to do with that yet. If I want to ply it with something I dye myself, or if I want to ply it with, because it's a hot pink, I might try to ply it with my undyed grey Jacob. Again, I haven't decided, and I don't want to spin that before I know what I want to do with it. Because if I don't, it will going to be standing there on a bobbin as a single forever if I don't know what to do with it when I start spinning it. I know I can spin it as an art yarn and as a single and use it for something as a single. So that's always a possibility, but I'm not sure I want to do that. I've been talking about spinning for quite a bit, and I'm not sure do I have any more? I don't have any more spinning whips. I have this on the wheel at the moment, and I don't have a lot of fiber left. So as soon as I've spun up that, I'm going to spin up the grey so I can ply those and get them out of the way, so I can clear the bobbins. I had to order 2 more bobbins, Ashford bobbins from Spinwilt, because I can't use the 3D printed ones. And again, if you know of a hack to make them smooth enough for the... I've been thinking, the brake string, I'm not sure, maybe you call it a wire, that's on the Ashford Kiwi. It's a nylon, it's basically a fishing line. And I was thinking, what if I buy a fishing line that's heavier duty, that's thicker? Can I use that? Would that help? It doesn't have to be that fine, I guess. Because I know how to knit. I've been fishing all my life, so I know how to do knots that won't slip off. The same knots you use when you put your hook at the end of the line and stuff like that. I know how to do that, so it wouldn't be a problem for me to switch out the line that's on the wheel. And that's one of the things I've been thinking about trying, just to see if that would help. But enough about the spinning. I'm going to talk a bit about make-alongs. First of all, the Fluff to Stuff make-along, still running. I have drawn some prices. I have to adjust the camera a bit. Sorry about the wobbling. And that's Snape. He knows I'm recording, so he just realized he hadn't said anything yet, so he just decided he wanted to say something. I'm sorry for looking over there all the time, but this is where I have my notes. So the Fluff to Stuff make-along is still running. It's running all year. So that's the rules are on Ravelry, in my Ravelry group, and the Fluff to Stuff Mal. There's also Instagram prices at the end of the year. And we have the Tea Time make-along finished yesterday, and I'm going to announce the prices in a bit. And we have the Arctic Summer of Socks that ends August 31st. So those are the make-alongs running now. And I have some prices to announce. First we have, the prices are here. First we have these 2 skeins of Arctic Crafts Fine Merino Sock. I've dyed up these as a price for this make-along. I haven't dyed yarn in ages. This is the reason why I dyed these peach is the Pantone color for the year is something called peach fuzz or something. It's a peach anyway. So I thought, okay, I'll just dye this peach then. So this is 2 skeins, 425 meters each. So this is enough for a t-shirt, short sleeve sweater. So that's the first prize, and that's was won by Harp Trot on Ravelry. The second prize, and all these people have been notified on Ravelry. The second prize is yarn donated by Sue Cross 97. It's 100% merino from Araucania yarns, and the colorway is Huasco, and this is Blee 69. And then the pattern prize was won by Ine, and I know who you are. Your name is Nina, and I think you actually won a pattern prize before, previously in a make-along. I seem to remember you have won a pattern prize before. I do this random, so sometimes the same people win twice. And Shop the Stash make-along, I drew Julie Jealous, and you're going to get this Gold Sport Sea Breeze, Arctic Crafts Gold Sport, and this got nylon in, so this is usable for a pair of socks. So that's Shop the Stash make-along. And then we have the prices for the second quarter of Fluff to Stuff. This time I drew 2 prizes because there are more participants, so I drew 2 prizes. The first prize is this 100% Polworth dyed by me, and this was won by Shelly Spin. And the second prize is this blend of Norwegian lamb's wool and mulberry silk, and this is won by Yril Knits on Ravelry, and those people have also been notified on Ravelry. So I'm going to, as soon as I get your postal address and email address, I'll send this out to you. I have some stuff to do this summer, and this is going to be a lot of postage and shipping expenses, but I'll get it out during sometime this summer. But the plan is to get it out as soon as I have your addresses, but I want to coordinate it a bit. So hopefully all these people are quick to get their addresses to me, so I can get this out of the house. So those are the prices, and I've shown you all my projects. I haven't got any big plans for it's thankfully we have got the air conditioning now, because it's possible for me to spin, because I sit beneath the air conditioning, so I get a breeze straight at me when I'm spinning, and that helps a lot, because spinning when it's hot, it sticks to your hands and it's not pleasant. I don't have a lot of live stuff. It's a bit the same. The only thing that's different is that hubby has started his summer vacation, and that's also one of the reasons why I'm not recording a podcast this summer. I might record some footage with my phone when we're going places, so sometime this summer maybe I'm going to put out a short vlog without a lot of talking, just recording. But I'm probably going to make it the end of August is probably going to be a long podcast where I put in stuff from what we did this summer. But we are going to have a staycation because we went to Brighton earlier in the year, so that was sort of our trip for this year. And then I actually have some stuff for show and tell. I almost forgot, so I had to go get it. I keep saying I don't need another hobby, but look what I made. I got my sewing machine out and I made this basket. This is from my youngest son, and I made it from curtains. These curtains were in my oldest son's bedroom before he grew out of them. And the lining is leftovers from the curtains in our living room. I bought curtains and I had to cut them at the bottom because they were too long. So I used that as the lining. The interfacing is a table felt. My local craft store or yarn store, she didn't have, she only had the really thin kind. She didn't have the thicker kind of interfacing, so I bought table felt. And I have more of that, so I'm going to use that because I've been to... That was a lot of fun. And I bought this. We have, this is 25 pieces of fabric, and it's the pieces are 25 by 25 centimeters, and they're square. And to make this, you use squares. And I'm linking that pattern down below. It's really basic, but that's what I needed. I went to school to learn how to make clothes. And I know I actually was able to draw up a design and then make the pattern and then sew the garments. That's really, really long ago. I think we're talking 1986. 1986. So that's a really long time ago. My sewing machine, I bought it at the time. So that's also from 1986. But it actually works. It's been, I oiled it and cleaned it, and it still works. So I bought this to make more of those baskets, but smaller because you can make them any size you want. It's the same, the principle is the same. So the size is decided by how big your squares are when you start. So I'm going to use this to make smaller baskets if I'm really satisfied with them. This could also be prizes, or I could give them away to people. And these are my colors, sort of purples and pinks and pastelly. So probably nothing here that works for Sue, Craftiness 7. But I'm going to make baskets from that. I'm not going to use the white for lining. I'm going to use these for both the lining and the outside. So I'm going to use 2 different fabrics for each basket. And I'm going to need 4 of these for each basket. So we'll see how I do this. I have to unpack this and see how many I have of each fabric. So I'm looking forward to doing some more sewing. I might not be able to do a lot of sewing this summer, but I'm going to, at least while my youngest son is here, because I have to use the dining room table as a sewing table. We live in a tiny apartment, so I haven't got a lot of space, so I have to use the dining table as a sewing table. So as long as my youngest son is here, I can't do any sewing. So we'll see. But I really want to, and maybe next week. I have 2 days a week I can do stuff like that. I can of course do some sewing in the weekends, during the weekends, but I prefer to have the house to myself when I'm doing stuff like this, because I can use a lot of space. I need to have the ironing table out and the iron when I do this, so that's going to have to stay in the kitchen. And we have one big room that's both living room, dining room, and kitchen. So I'm sort of I need a lot of space when I'm sewing, because I need a iron. So, and that was we'll call that my epilogue. And I'm going to stop now. Hopefully I'm recording. Otherwise this would be really sad. Anyways, that's what I had for this. Not a lot of live stuff, as I said. So I'll see you again at the end of August, and I'll be on Instagram, of course. I'll put stuff up on Instagram all summer. But I won't be back with a podcast until the end of August. And at least I'm going to do podcasts to the end of the year. If the subscription numbers keep going down, because then I can't see the point, as I said. But I'm not going to start complaining again. I'll see you at the end of August. Congratulations to the winners. And I'll see you August 31st, or the Monday closest to the end of August. Bye bye.